So today we're going to talk about handling the commission objection. You know, when a seller says to you, hey, will you lower your commission? Or so-and-so will do it for less. It comes up quite frequently in our industry. And the fact is that the public thinks that we're a commodity. And they don't really see much value in our profession, just like the public doesn't see much value in car salesmen or lawyers. But it's up to us to differentiate ourselves. So we're going to talk about that here today, the commission objection. But before I show you how to handle the commission objection, or having somebody ask you to cut your fee as an objection, I want to get your brain around the fact that the seller wants to pay you your full commission. My sellers want to pay me a premium. And the reason they want to pay me a premium is because I do a really good job of distinguishing and differentiating myself from the competition. So we're covering commission objections. So the better your listing presentation is, the less objections show up. And if you never want to hear another objection again, you folks should all check out my listing masterclass. It's free for a limited time. It's a 90-minute recording where I show you A to Z how to attract sellers, how to convert them to appointments, what to say when you're walking through their house on the tour, how to differentiate yourself from the competition, and ultimately how to list a couple of homes a week or 100 homes a year. It's very comprehensive. It's a phenomenal training, and you can watch it by visiting list100homes.com. All right, so when it comes to a seller asking you to do it for less, it's usually because you didn't create enough value in the first place, or you didn't differentiate yourself from other agents. That's why they're asking you to do it for less. And you can't blame them, right? So go to the listing masterclass, learn how to become a pro, learn how to be a dominant agent, and you won't ever have to deal with these objections. But if you do, here's what you say. Seller says, hey, Brian, will you do it for less? So-and-so will do it for a full percent less. I like you a lot, Bri. If you'll do it for that percentage, I'll go with you over the other agent. So what do you say? Do you say no? Folks, I actually went to a training years ago, a real estate event, and the trainer said, when the seller asks you to cut your commission, you just say no. Do you have any other questions? That doesn't work very well, right? You go no, and they go, well, we're going to go with the other guy. All right, fine. And you just walked away from a $400,000 listing. It's ridiculous. So we've got to be equipped. We've got to be prepared. So the seller says, will you do it for less? You can say this. If I do it for less, then I've got to cut some of my services. If I cut my services, we talked about putting your home on realtor.com. We talked about the benefits that you talked about. We talked about putting it on Zillow. We talked about full MLS exposure. We talked about open house marketing. We talked about our buyer match list. We talked about the different for sale signs that we have that increase the demand on your home. Our open house on steroids program, our staging program, our professional photography. So you restate the value. So if I cut my commission, what services do you want me to cut? And just pause. Seller goes, well, I don't want you to cut your services. I want you to do everything you said. I just want you to do it for less. Well, I can't provide those services and charge less than the competition. Now, folks, if you really want a good one, if you really develop your skills and you're quick on your feet, and you develop that quick reflex, you can even say this. Hey, knowing that other company, knowing that agent, knowing how little they do comparative to me to promote and market homes, I'm actually quite shocked they charge so much. And just let that linger for a second. And then continue with, like I said, if I cut my fee, I've got to cut my services. And if I cut my services, your home won't sell. So are you most interested in getting the lowest commission, or are you interested in getting the highest price? And get their focus on the price, because here's the truth. The commission and everything that you do increases demand. And when you increase demand, you increase the price. So you need to articulate that to the seller. If we don't do all the things that we talked about that we were going to do in terms of our marketing plan, then your home is going to miss out from potential buyers. And if your home misses out, if we don't get any showings or we have limited number of showings, you're going to end up having to take the first offer that comes along or the only offer that you get. My job, my goal is to create a bidding war on your home. The only way to do that is to increase the demand and get you the most amount of money for your home. Does that make sense, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? So are you interested in the lowest commission? Are you interested in the highest price? And then I'll say, why don't we take a look at what this means to you? And I go back to the net sheet. So folks, real quick little tip today, short, sweet, to the point. You can watch this recording a few times, study it, master it, write it down, get comfortable with the language, because you can't think about it when you're in it. You've got to speak quickly and articulately. Also, if you'd like to learn more of the do's and don'ts, watch our listing masterclass and discover how you can attract more sellers than you could chase a stick at. And you can do it immediately. You can generate leads today. It's 90 minutes. It's very detailed. It's step-by-step. It's great. It comes with 3 bonus documents that I use on every single listing appointment. So visit Listing Masterclass by going to list100homes.com. That's list100homes.com.